Let's move on to the third keynote speaker, Associate Professor Olga Predushchenko from Zhejiang University, China. The title of her speech is Innovation in Teaching Practice as a Result of Temporary Independent Distance Learning Experience in China. Let's welcome.
Hello, do you hear me well?
Yes. Hello, Professor Olga.
That's good.
Yes.
So, ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues.
Okay, hi. Yeah, we will play your presentation video first, yes, and then we will go on the question and answer part. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, my name is Olga Predushchenko. I'm a researcher in the cross field of education and educational psychology for about 25 years. My basic research interest emphasizes the effectiveness of the pedagogical activity of teaching professionals. Nowadays, I'm teaching English and Russian as foreign languages, and I'm searching for the original and the most optimal variants to improve the work of a university teacher. So, I'm using different approaches, such as system activity approach and competency approach. I'm currently taking a position of an associate professor in Department of Foreign Languages in Zhejiang University in Jiangxi province. My academic and scientific career was developed in Russia. I represent the Scientific School of Nizhny Novgorod State Linguistic University, Moscow State Linguistic University, and Pushkin State Russian Language Institute. First of all, I would like to thank the organizing committee of the Second International Conference on Education, Knowledge and Information Management. I also thank the Academic Exchange Information Center for inviting me here and giving this wonderful opportunity to communicate with researchers, scientists, and educators here in China. It is a great honor for me to be present to present the results of my latest research and practical activity performed in Zhejiang University in Jiangxi province. My special thanks to the colleagues who are present here now, online and offline, and I hope for fruitful cooperation in the future. The topic of my research today is innovations in teaching practice as a result of temporary independent distance learning experience in China. The hypothesis of our research sounds like this: upgrading the teacher's pedagogical activity by implementing innovations designed from the recommendations for teaching staff obtained during temporary independent distance learning will improve the academic results of university students. So, the basic idea is to revise and upgrade the work of a university teacher to implement some innovations following the recommendations obtained from temporary independent distance learning. The objectives are as follows. At first, we investigate the situation of temporary independent distance learning, which lasted for the whole second semester of the previous academic year, from February to July 2020. Secondly, we elaborate recommendations for teachers obtained with the means of a survey among the students going through this type of learning. There we describe the most evident issues and how these issues can be overcome. The next step is to implement the recommendations of distance learning into teaching practice. Then we compare the results of the university students of the first semester in 2020 and 2021. And finally, we shall prove the effectiveness of the improved teaching practical activity. The 5 points of teachers' focus are: 1. Discipline. 2. Basic general self-learning skills in students. 3. Learning environment. 4. Psychological comfort. And 5. Health condition. The experimental training is performed in English writing as an academic course. We all admit that the situation with lockdown changed the academic reality for a certain period of time that lasted for the whole semester. The second semester of 2019-2020 academic year, from February till July 2020. As a result, lockdown changed the overall educational picture. When we characterize this period, we admit that it was unexpected and unpredicted for both students and teachers. Nobody was prepared for this situation. The learning process started all of a sudden and in a very challenging manner. So, it provoked overall distance learning in different modes, variants, and forms. It accelerated fast development of online training and supported the idea of independent and individualized teaching and learning. From our point of view, that period may be named as temporary independent distance learning. Temporary means not permanent or lasting for only a limited period of time. In our case, it lasted from February till July. The word independent means separate or not connected with another or with each other. This word explains that the students were working by themselves without a teacher and classmates being next to each other. The term distance learning has some different connotations in the works of various investigators. Thus, for example, some educators treat it as a synonym to distance learning, online education, e-learning, distant education. In our case, this word combination explains that the students were staying outside the university. They were not in the classroom. The majority of them were at home or in the dormitory. Everybody was using the computer or electronic device or a gadget. They were supposed to learn at the same time in a synchronous mode of collaboration. So, the working definition to this period of time that we use in our research may sound like this. Temporary independent distance learning is an unplanned specific type of online education for each separate university student for a limited period of time. The list of works used for analysis of the phenomenon of distance learning will be given at the end of this presentation. I would like to draw your attention that educational practice in its wide understanding didn't experience anything absolutely new in a revolutionary way. All the innovations had already existed before. They were just accelerated, multiplied, scaled up, used in some fields and areas where they had not been used before. In purpose to clarify how university students evaluate their own statement, having their classes at home, outside the classroom, within the period of temporary independent distance training, during total quarantine in China, we performed a survey. The topic of a survey is students' attitude towards temporary independent distance learning. We investigated advantages, disadvantages, and possible ways of solving problems of distance learning. The obtained data was supposed to help university teachers understand the situation from the student side, and on that basis, upgrade the design of their lessons, both online and offline, with the aim to improve the effectiveness of training. Respondents were 293 full-time regular students of Zhejiang University of the first and the second year of training with fluent English, learning in Department of Foreign Languages, majoring in English, and from International Department, majoring in medicine. The survey took place in April 2020. The process of learning was investigated in 5 aspects: discipline, learning skills, learning environment, psychological comfort, and health. Now we are going to talk about each aspect separately. Let's follow this pattern. We shall analyze the problems that students faced, solutions, and advantages. Then we formulate some recommendations to the teachers and educators that will serve as a foundation to innovation. Based on the results, we modify the offline version of educational process. At this moment, we shall talk about innovations implemented to the offline education that started in September 2020. Actually, this is the main topic of our lecture. So, the first aspect is discipline. Or it's better to say self-discipline. The question is, what are the problems for the students? Number 1, my attention is distracted by relatives or some other things. It is the answer of 36 of respondents. Number 2, I lack self-discipline and self-control, 25% of answers. So these are the most popular answers, you see. So, what are the solutions to these problems? 25% of respondents said, I set up alarms and reminders. I force myself to concentrate on learning, 22%. I follow the teacher and try to finish all the assignments during the lesson hours, 19% of students. So, what are the advantages or the positive sides that students face in this situation? I control my time, answered 34% of students. I have a chance to test and improve my self-discipline and self-control, 19%. It means that students really want to control their time themselves and to improve self-discipline. So, what is the recommendation to the teachers? To offer a certain algorithm of learning to the students in purpose to improve their skills in self-discipline. Based on this recommendation, we implemented the following innovations. Number 1 is clear time management. The lesson is structured. The structure of the lesson is repeated. Alarm reminds to finish one part of the lesson and to start another one. And here you see the particular model of the lesson in English writing, having the following parts of the lesson. Checking the test and correction the mistakes, 10 minutes. Revision of the theory, 10 minutes. Checking material for self-study and homework, 25 minutes. Actually, here we have a 5 minutes break between 2 periods, and then we restart with new theoretical material for 10 minutes. Practice, 25 minutes. Test, 10 minutes. After that, the lesson is over. Parts of the lesson are separated by the sound of the alarm that I set up on my telephone. So when the students hear the sound, it is a signal for them to change the activity, finish one part of the lesson and start another part of the lesson. Students get used to this algorithm very quickly. 3-4 lessons will be enough. Discipline and self-discipline improve very efficiently. There is no waste of time, and the time management is really strong. The second aspect is learning skills. What are the problems for the students? I feel that my training is not effective. I'm not satisfied with my own results. 38% of students gave that answer. I lack skills in self-training and distance learning. I haven't done that before. 21%. Solutions offered by the students are: I search for additional information concerning the topic of the lessons on internet. 16%. I translate the learning material. I translate the learning material into my native language. It is Chinese for Chinese students or another foreign language for international students. 16% of respondents. I make notes for my own use. 15%. I read and revise the learning material again and again until I understand it. 13% of students. Here are the advantages. I understand when my training is not effective. I set a goal and I achieve it. I am result oriented. This is the answer of 39% of respondents. I improve my skills in self-training and distance learning. 28%. I have a good chance to learn and use formal language and academic terminology. I understand difficult texts or search for additional information on internet or books. 22% of respondents. Recommendations are to improve the following skills in self-training: setting goals for the lessons, searching for additional material in books and on internet, working with terminology so that the students should acquire the algorithm of some elements of self-training and achieving educational results. What are the innovations? Emphasize the general and specific competencies of the subject. Set up goals at the beginning of each lesson, following the structural model of the lesson that was described in the section devoted to discipline. What we are supposed to learn, how to practice, to revise, to control, to test, to check, and so on. Give tasks related to independent individuals searching for some data in theoretical books or on internet. And finally, train skills to treat specific terminology and unknown words, how to clarify the meaning, how to learn the spelling, how to use the words correctly, and so on. So the third aspect is learning environment. Problems for the students are the following. We don't have paper books. I can't learn effectively without a book. It is the answer of 32% of students. Separate photos of pages cause great inconvenience. Too many files to open at the same time. 27% of respondents said that. The solutions. I have arranged a special working space at home. 33%. I go to a quiet place at home where nobody can disturb me. 28%. I ask my parents and relatives to keep silence and not to disturb me for the period of time when I have my lessons. 26%. So, here are some advantages. I organize a learning place and make it comfortable for me in my own specific way. 52% of the respondents said that. I have a good chance to use internet in my apartment. 20%. I easily work with images of the pages from textbooks, even if they are not clear, they are blurring, or letters are too small. 16%. So, recommendations are dealing with three things: a comfortable convenient working place, quiet working atmosphere, and a good paper book. What are the innovations? We improve skills in organizing the working space on the desks or table. Only necessary things should be there, such as a textbook, a copybook, a pen, a pencil, a ruler, glasses, a bottle of water. That's the full complete list, nothing else. All these things should be arranged in a rational way to be at hand when necessary. Number two, then we create quiet working atmosphere, no unnecessary sounds, no distracting interior, devices, pictures on the wall, and so on. We check the room before the lesson. And finally, paper books should also be good for learning. Aspect number 4 deals with psychological comfort. In the section of problems, 32% of respondents admitted that they cannot motivate themselves and get into the learning mood. 21% said that they felt bored because the lessons were very monotonous. The question of motivation for learning has always been the most challenging, whatever, whenever, wherever. It is the real problem that became more complicated during the period of lockdown. So what are the solutions? I try to think actively and positively, answered 26% of students. I motivate myself by saying that I gain knowledge necessary for me in my future life, 25%. I force myself to keep my attention concentrated on the subject matter, 22%. So, the conclusions are the following. More than half of students, 51%, state that they feel better in a quiet place, even if a lesson is very monotonous. I effectively motivate myself and get into the learning mood, said 19% of students. I prefer to study independently, 16%. So, recommendations to improve skills of self-motivation in students and to introduce some good ideas for self-motivations. Innovations. Start and finish the lesson with some traditions and rituals, emphasizing the importance of the profession, the value of each personality, the specific professional style. The fifth aspect deals with the health condition. There are two main problems here. Eyes and sightseeing of the students are getting worse, 47%. This is the problem which is evident because not less than half of the students wearing glasses. The body and muscles are tensed during and after lessons. 29% of the students admit that the body requires some physical activity. So what are the solutions? I take breaks for my eyes during a lesson. I keep my eyes closed for some time. I do exercises for eyes, 41%. I take a break to exercise my body and muscles during a lesson, 22%. I do some physical activity and fitness after lessons, 22%. Not bad. And here are some advantages. I started regular physical activity of fitness for my body and muscles. I didn't do it before. 43% of respondents answered like this. I can exercise my eyes whenever they are tired. 34%. So what are the recommendations? Recommendations are the following: to improve skills in taking care of physical condition of the body and pay special attention to students' eyes. Innovations: practice keeping a back and body straight, sitting at the desk in the correct position, keep 50-centimeter distance between eyes and the text, do some physical exercises during 5 minutes break. So I will show you some pictures created by my students to motivate them to sit straight at the desk while writing or reading. So let's have a look. How to sit properly at the desk. Very nice picture, and then the students try to make this picture with a real person, not just being a picture, but a real person is participating. How to sit correctly at the desk. So there is an incorrect variant and correct variant. So, and the idea is that healthy student will create a healthy nation, and after that, the whole world will be healthy. So then we translated this idea into the Chinese language. Now let's summarize innovations in teaching practice as a result of temporary independent distance learning. Number one, discipline. Here we deal with a clear time management and clear lesson structure. Number two, basic general self-learning skills in student. 1. Competences for discipline. 2. Goals for each lesson. 3. Search for data in books or on internet. 4. Work with terminology. Number 3. Learning environment. 1. Improving working space. 2. Working place. 3. Working atmosphere. 4. Good paper books. The next one, psychological comfort. Motivational traditions and rituals emphasizing the importance of the profession, the value of a personality, the specific professional style. And number 5 is health condition concerning back, body, and the eyes. As for the outcomes of training with innovations, we can compare the results of the first semester of this academic year to the previous 2019-2020 academic year. You see that the last year, the average score for English writing was 85.5%. This year, 7 classes were taught with some innovations, and the results of final examinations are presented in the table. The average score is 85.9%. So the difference in average scores is 0.4%. Thus, we can make a conclusion that the improved teaching practical activity is more efficient. So we may say that our hypothesis is proved. So now I offer you the list of references to scientific articles that were used for this research. So that is all for my lecture today. Thank you very much for your attention. Feedbacks, comments, questions, suggestions are welcome. See you again.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Olga, for your excellent report. Yeah, time for a question. Is there any question for her?
So actually there was a question in the chat.
Oh yeah, I have seen the mailbox. Yeah.
So
And
how the questionnaire was created? So actually, all the problems were described by the students themselves during. So they gave me feedbacks after each lesson. So what were the difficulties? What were the negative sides, positive sides? How they used to overcome it. That's how I did it.
okay, thank you. So if you have any question, please feel free to contact Professor Olga by WeChat or by email. Okay, thank you again. Okay, this is the end of the keynote speeches. Now let's move to the oral speeches. Now